Alright guys, it's another one of our decks. This is my deck for the new format. I call it Ninja Dead. I based it off of a deck that a friend of mine made a few formats ago. It's essentially Teledead, and it just works crazy well with Reborn and Dark Hole. Reborn just makes it so broken. There's so many possible OTKs. So I'm going to go through it. Dark Armed, obviously. Gore is obviously both staples. 3 Caius. Just as a side note, I love those kids who are like, oh, Caius is going to 2. Like, yeah, fuck off. 2 Malicious work pretty well. I hate drawing this card when I have the other one in the graveyard. That's one thing.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens too much. Stratos to search out the Malicious. Diamond Dude, because just like the most broken thing is just to bring up Plague when he's on the field. Like, stick Monster Reborn on top of your deck and then be like, oh, Monster Reborn. Just activate his effect. It just works really nicely in here with Plague. Greffer for the OTK. 1 Tomato to search out. There's a lot of targets. You got everything. Sanguine, searched out by Tomato. I like 2 Dakochis. This is a draw engine. It's another dark for Dad. It just works really nicely in here. Combines with the books really well. 2 Crabons, Tala option. Plague Spreader works really nicely with Greffer for the OTK. Necro, I just like. It's just a random. I don't really want to call it tech. It's just an old school card. It negates 1 attack. It still works really well in my opinion. Like, I'm always stopping like crucial blows with him, so he works nicely. Reaper, just to pluck away at their hand. 1 Crow is going to be big this format. I have 2 more in my side deck. And then the reason I call it Ninja Dad, Strike Ninja, is just so great. You can remove, like, if you Reborn him, you can activate his effect. You can remove him to avoid the Dark Hole. He's just so useful. I mean, he can thin out the darks in the graveyard, so making Dark Arm less of a dead draw late game. Alright, Magic cards. 2 Book of Moon, 2 MST. I don't go 3 Book of Moons, especially now with Brain Band. It's not really worth it. 1 D-Draw works really nicely. It'd be great if it was a 2, but for some reason, Konami considers that card a limited card.
Solar Recharge, no, no, why would we touch that?
God only knows why. But, so that's it 1, but it still works really nicely if you get it first thing with, like, that and Rhoda. You just search out Stratos, get the Malicious, ditch Malicious, draw 2. It works really nicely, mills a lot of cards. Same thing with Lore, works really nicely, just draw more cards. Cold Wave, staple. I mean, that's still limited to 1. That card is so broken.
Should be banned.
Love getting the OTK off with that. Reinforcements to search out. There's a lot of Warriors. Strike Ninja late game, Stratos, T-Hero, Greffer, all that shit works. Mind Control, just because we have a bunch of sinks. We have 3 sinks, I think. Yeah. Teleport for the Crabons, Dark Hole, and Monster Reborn staples. Traps, I got 2 Bottomless. Works really nicely, still a staple. I run Call in here. That was tested for a few cards. I actually tried out Starlight Road, and to be perfectly honest with you, without being able to like set your whole hand and then like let them heavy into it, it just did not work as well, even with Dark Hole out. I rarely had 2 monsters, and most of the time it was a dead draw. It just didn't work. Like a deck like this, a lot of the times I'm getting Light Sworn just by legit sinking anyway, so it just didn't work as well. So Call allows me to abuse Plague, allows me to abuse tons of shit. Get Malicious up, sink again for like another level 8. A lot of combos with 2 level 8s that work really nicely.
Honest. Yeah,
it just works really well in this deck. Mirror staple, Solemn staple, Torrential staple, and then Dust Shoot works really nicely. I always get that first draw. Alright, side deck. I'm going to keep it broad for the beginning of the format. 2 Effect Veilers. These guys are really hot in Japan. Just a level 1 tuner. He works really nicely. You can ditch him and negate the effect of your opponent's monsters until the end phase of their turn. I really like how he works. So 2 of him, 2 DD Crow for a total of 3. It's going to be big this format. 2 Cyber Dragon, just because I feel like the threat of people could possibly run 3 is enough to stop Mechana in its place. So I feel like 2 is enough. If I actually run into 1, I just, like with the smashings, it should be okay. 2 Vanity Fiends to take the place of Oppression. Like, if I side out my special summon stuff and get him like late game, he works really nicely. That card completely shuts down a lot of decks. 2 Smashings in case I go second, and for decks that have a lot of big monsters. So that works nicely. 2 Divine Wrath, another broad card, just works on a lot of decks. And then 3 Dust, in case I play anything where Spell and Trap removal is needed, or just because Heavy's gone, and then also for going second, just to screw with their face downs. Alright guys, so again, this is Ninja Dad. Comments on it, you know the drill. Comment, tell me what you think. Take it easy, guys.